Wow. Well, I wasn't expecting Ken Volk, which has thrown me off my game a little bit, not that I had a game to begin with. I mean, first and foremost, I was like stalked and shocked and stunned that I would get this, because really, you know, Jason Haas is on every board in the world and they're creating boards for him. All I've done is make wine for him and Munch and Talbot's Creek and Low Madrone. So,
but what was your starting wage?
Okay, so let's go there. So I was working in the restaurant industry, and I decided that I'd like to learn about making wine. And so I actually went and spoke to a guy named Jack that worked at Caperone, and he said don't. So I went home, opened the yellow pages, and wrote a letter to Adelaide, because it was the first in the book. This is true. And I got a response from John Munch, and we know him. And so I went up to his place for an interview with my son Jordan, who was then maybe 6 months old. I went to the interview, and the only thing I remember about the interview is, apart from getting on with John, was he said, "I don't care what you do in your free time. Any drugs you want to do, I've done them all. I'm cool with that, but I have new partners and they're not going to be cool with that at the winery, so just keep it at home." All right. And I left with an old barrel and a box of hardwood shavings to build the cold smoker that I was going to build at home to smoke my pigs that I was raising. And I got the job. But there was a caveat, and the caveat was, well, the winery's not quite finished, so I can't actually hire you. This was 1990. I can't quite hire you for the 91 harvest, so you should go find another job for the harvest. Classic John. So I had a friend that worked at a place called Wild Horse. His name was Rudolfo, Foth, for those that you know him. And so I went and spoke with him, and a man that I didn't know at the time, who became a great friend and who passed away last year, the great Scott Welcher. Yeah, let's have a bit of that. Scott Welcher's advice to me was, yeah, you should go and work for John, but 2 words of advice: don't expect to get paid on time, and do not try and keep up with him at the bar. Both of which, entirely true. So, Ken offered me a job. $6 an hour. With the promise of increase if I proved worthy. So I went up to 8. Ultimately. Only job in my life I've ever actually walked off of, because the owner was so miserable. True. But then he called me back in and was super nice. So I always look at this. I worked for Ken Volk, who did everything by the book, like stupid intelligent. I mean, he speaks to me and I only understand like 10% of what comes out of his mouth. And then I went to Adelaide and worked for John Munch, who didn't even know there was a book. So, pretty good foundation. I'm off script now. I've only ever written things down to make speeches like this twice. Once was Robert Haas's celebration of life, and today was another one. That's how important this is to me. So, did that, went to work for Munch, and things have just... Let me get back on point here, because you're distracting me. So the beauty of this community is what I'm trying to say, right? So I came in here, I didn't know anything. I'm not very educated, worked in kitchens, went to John Munch, gave me jobs, sent me to him, and things just kept falling in front of me, and I kept doing them. The first wine I ever made was Pinot Noir. Ken lent me the barrels, John let me make it at Adelaide. Blah, blah, blah. Always encouragement, push me forward. And at that time, we're talking, what, like 29 wineries, maybe. So not a lot of people involved. The bar in town was Boozy's when it was open. The restaurant in town was Pappy's, the Mexican restaurant. So it was smaller. But the encouragement was what was important, I think. And then Talbot's Creek showed up. And first I was not that stoked. I mean, French people at Adelaide, weird. And then an old guy from the East Coast, even weirder. But got along really well with them. And then Robert Haas, much to my surprise, agreed to let me come on board and be a part of the Talbot's Creek project. My father literally said, "What the hell does he see in you?" Thank you, Bob. Pushed me forward, and I went to France, and so much has been given, and so much encouragement. Back in those days, it was Volk. I wasn't going to mention his name, he's here now. So Volk, Munch, Chris Johnson, Steve Goldman, obviously, Neil Zusen, the mythical guy with the bottling line on the other side of town. Not many people, but lots of encouragement. So I just kept going, and I went to Talbot's Creek, and now I've been there, short timer, for 22 years or some such thing. Woo! And let's be fair, if it wasn't for Talbot's Creek, I wouldn't be standing here, that's fairly sure. You know, they've given me a lot. But that's part of the community that is the Paso Robles wine community. And that sort of brings me to the point of, I really hope that that continues. I was asked a question in Big Sur, which was inspiring. I think lots of us have been inspired in Big Sur, but this year this young lady came up to me and asked me, "Who's your inspiration?" And I thought, first, of course, he's here, so Ken Volk. And John Munch and all those old guys. And then I realized, not really, those are the shoulders that I was allowed to stand on to get where I am. The people that are inspiring to me in winemaking, which is what I do for a living, not public speaking, are the young people, the young guys that are pushing young men and women, and this was a young lady, that are pushing the envelope further, that are prepared to look beyond what is the current trend, what is doing well right now, and making wines that are more intriguing and interesting. And that's who inspires, and that's what keeps making us better and better. And I would say, in my opinion, I hope that the community, the wine community of Paso Robles, continues to help people, each other, young people that are coming into the business, whoever they are. Give them encouragement, give them hope, push them forward, lift them up a little bit. There's a lot of really overqualified people. And there's a lot of young men and women that just are great. And we should be pushing them and continuing to be the community that helped me actually end up on this stage, and which let's keep that moving for them. And on that, note, I'd like to say thank you for having me, Paso Robles, and thank you, Ken Volk, for getting in my way. Cheers. Good luck.